Right now, a massive global competition is unfolding, but it's not for territory or for oil. It's for something way more powerful, dominance in artificial intelligence. And we're not just talking about who makes the coolest new phone. This is a race that's literally going to define the future of global power. So let's get into it and break down who the key players are and what their game plans look like.
So, this is the big question on everyone's mind, right? Who is actually winning this thing? Is there an obvious frontrunner in this incredibly high stakes game? Or is the answer, well, a lot more complicated than that? To figure it out, we've got to understand the teams and the very, very different rulebooks they're all playing by. Okay, so here's the game plan for this explainer. We're going to start by setting the stage for this new global race. Then we'll dive deep into the three big strategies. You've got the private sector-led Team USA, the state-driven data machine that is Team China, and the totally unique regulation-focused path of the European Union. And finally, we'll look at what's really on the line here, the enormous prize of AI supremacy.
We're calling this the new global race. But honestly, a lot of people are already calling it a new kind of Cold War, a technological Cold War. But this time, it's not really about spies and satellites in the traditional sense. The real battlefield, it's all about innovation, it's about data, and it's about who controls our digital future.
So when we throw around this term AI supremacy, what do we actually mean? It's not just about who can build the smartest chatbot. Nope. It's about a country achieving a level of AI capability that's so far ahead of everyone else that it fundamentally changes the rules of global power. It impacts everything from how rich a nation is to how strong its military is. And this whole race really boils down to three completely different philosophies. You've got the USA, which is betting big on its incredible private sector. Then you have China, which is using a top-down, state-controlled strategy. And then there's the EU, which is trying to carve out this unique role for itself by focusing on rules and ethics. Let's break down each one.
First up, let's talk about Team USA. The whole American approach is really about the power of the free market. It's not some single, unified government plan. It's more of a dynamic, sometimes pretty chaotic ecosystem that's led by the biggest and most innovative tech companies on the planet. And here's the thing you've got to understand about the US model. The innovation is fueled by absolutely fierce competition and just massive amounts of private money. Think about it. You've got these legendary labs, Google, Microsoft, OpenAI, and they are all locked in this intense race to just push the boundaries of what's possible. Their goal is simple: stay ahead by innovating faster than everybody else. It's a high-speed, high-risk, but also potentially a super high-reward strategy.
All right, now let's flip the script completely and look at Team China, because their approach is, well, it's pretty much the total opposite. In China, AI isn't just another industry. It's a full-blown national mission, and it's being directed from the very top levels of the government. China's game plan is built on these two monster pillars: state direction and data. The government sets these incredibly ambitious national goals and then just pours unbelievable resources into making them happen. And this is the really critical part. They have access to these enormous, centralized data sets on their own people. And that data, it's basically rocket fuel for training AI models. Their ambition couldn't be clearer. They want to leapfrog everyone and become the world's undisputed center for AI innovation. And this slide really just lays it all out, right? You can see that core ideological split crystal clear. On one side, you've got the bottom-up, almost chaotic, market-driven engine of the US. And on the other, you have the top-down, state-directed mission that's happening in China. Two superpowers, two totally, fundamentally different playbooks for how to win the future. But hold on, because there's a third major player in this story, and they're playing a totally different game. That's the European Union. See, the EU isn't really trying to out-innovate the US or outscale China. Instead, it's trying to write the rulebook for the entire race. The EU's whole play is to lead with their values. By creating these huge, comprehensive regulations like the AI Act, they're putting things like privacy, fairness, and transparency front and center. Their goal isn't just to build powerful AI, it's to build trustworthy AI. They're basically trying to be the world's tech referee, hoping their rulebook becomes the one everyone else has to follow. Okay, so we've seen the different playbooks, but why should you care? Why does it matter so much who actually comes out on top? Well, that brings us to our final and maybe the most important section. What's really at stake here? And look, let's be absolutely clear about this. This isn't just some tech nerd debate. The nation that leads in AI will have a massive,
decisive advantage in shaping the entire global order. It's the new standard for what it even means to be a world power.
So where are we going to feel this power shift the most? Well, think about three huge areas. First, cybersecurity. Imagine AI-powered defenses fighting off equally smart AI-powered attacks in real time. Second, the military. We're talking about autonomous weapons that could completely change how wars are fought. And third, the global economy. Plain and simple, AI will decide who wins and who loses in the next generation of global industry.
You know, a quote from our source material really just nails this idea. AI supremacy is becoming a critical component of economic and military power. It's not some bonus feature anymore. It's becoming the absolute foundation of a country's power. The link between tech, money, and military might has never, ever been tighter.
So what's the big takeaway from all of this? Well, you've got three major players, each on a totally different track. You have the US banking on its private sector, China using its government muscle and massive data, and the EU trying to be the world's rulemaker. And that, right there, is why this is about so much more than just technology. This isn't just a race between companies or countries. It's a global contest between completely different visions for what the future should look like. One based on free markets, one on state control, and one on regulated, human-first values. The winner doesn't just get the best tech. They get to export their entire way of thinking to the rest of the world.
So all of this leaves us with one big final question. When you think about the fact that the future of the economy, military security, and even our core values are all on the line, you really have to ask, is this just a friendly competition, or are we already in the first chapter of a new tech Cold War?